And hey guys, welcome back to the show, back with the Midwest Express. Today is going to be a spicy topic. We're talking about, does Walmart, Spark, and DoorDash support illegal workers? And there are certain loopholes in the way that these companies are doing business that are allowing lots of undocumented workers to get into this scenario of doing gig work. And I want to talk about what's happening, the repercussions, and some answers to the problems. So, starting off with what's happening. So, over the last 6 months, Texas has been taking all of the migrants that have been coming over the border illegally and sending them to what's considered sanctuary cities, typically throughout the Midwest, West Coast, and East Coast, which is the whole country. But they have really inundated the big cities with lots of population, where a lot of these migrants feel that they can kind of melt into the culture and find work. But the reality is there is not work for these people that are coming here without documentation. So they get to New York City, they get to Chicago, and now these cities are in a hot mess. These cities have been inundated with people so much that have no place to live or no way to make money, that once they get to cities like New York City, New York has now, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, they used a school. They told the kids, school's out this week. We got to shelter these people here. They've been asking for federal funds to help pay for all these migrants that are coming. This is what Texas and Arizona and California have been dealing with for years. But now that New York, the city of immigrants, the city that has open arms, not necessarily because it wasn't all open arms back in the day, but they have a huge history of immigrants and people coming through Ellis Island and everything, but they're not prepared for this kind of immigration today. And they have been getting inundated. They temporarily closed down a school last week. Now they are opening up hotels, 4-star hotels, and putting them all up. And the people in New York are starting to get very frustrated. New York kind of turned a blind eye and always said gig work's kind of a victimless crime. They can go ahead and do gig work. They can deliver our food. They can, these type of menial tasks that nobody cares about. And like California, gardening, nannies, all that kind of stuff, that's the menial tasks that they always wanted migrants to do. These things that people can slide under the radar and make some money and support themselves, but not have to be, pay taxes, all that other stuff. People are looking for the loopholes of how to hire these people. But in New York, they've kind of pushed them and said, go do gig work. You can do gig work. So you're like, well, as an illegal, how do they get into these gig work things? So first, let's talk about DoorDash. DoorDash heavily promotes delivering by bicycle. Now, this is one of the biggest scams of metros all over the country. Is people sign up for DoorDash and they say, I'm going to deliver by bicycle. So DoorDash doesn't require a car insurance. They don't require information about your car. They don't need you to have a license. Like, they let you get into DoorDash and you can use a debit card and set up some phony stuff and get your money, and you have an account. Now, DoorDash doesn't care whether you deliver by bicycle, helicopter. They don't give a flight. They just want the food delivered, right? But all these migrants, and not just migrants, but even people that don't have licenses or registered cars, have learned this scam where they could just say, I'm doing it by bike, and then they just deliver the food. Either they have a friend driving them around in a car that doesn't have insurance or a license, or they don't have insurance or a license, or they're renting mopeds or using mopeds and delivering it that way, because in some municipalities, mopeds don't require a driver's license. You can drive on the streets and blah, blah, blah. So New York had a big problem with these. New York had tons of, I want to say they were pushing like 80,000 gig workers delivering on mopeds and other means that It got so bad that the city said, all right, we have too many of these mopeds cruising around. We're going to start cracking down on these mopeds. And there was almost gang leaders renting these mopeds out to a lot of these migrants, advancing them money, getting them set up with stolen accounts, and saying, all right, here's an account, you deliver, this account says it's Susie, you're going to deliver for Susie, Susie's going to get a little cut, or I'm going to get cut because I'm the one that set your account up. Here's a phone, just go deliver the food. And that has been going on. But now that they're cracking down on the mopeds and cracking down on how easy it was to get into DoorDash, a lot of people have started just stealing identities and setting up bogus accounts with Walmart Spark, setting up multiple accounts with Walmart Spark, or teaming. So if you come to this country and you're from Venezuela or somewhere, who are you going to collaborate with? Other people from Venezuela, or your clique or your friends that you met maybe in your transits here or once you got to the city that you arrived in. So a lot of them are teaming up, and it is drastically affecting the Walmart Spark drivers. Drivers are onto it. They're seeing how it's happening. Even the U.S. government knows that 1 million people are working right now in America with stolen identities. And they honestly are not worried about cracking down on it. Because why? 1 million people are paying into Social Security that will never collect. 1 million people, even if they just pay in just $1,000 a year into Social Security, which we know it's a lot more, but even if they just pay in $1,000 a year to Social Security, that's $1 billion that the Social Security coffers get into that fund. So they are not really worried about clamping down on it on that aspect, because they're not going to file and get anything back. There's money being made by these undocumented illegal workers. So, and this is rampant throughout the country. I mean, even here in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin dairy industry looks the other way when it comes to documentation, because here in Wisconsin, no kids want to shovel cow shit or milk cows. That is hard work. I did it as a kid. I worked on a dairy farm from time to time, and milking cows is not fun and it is not glamorous. It teaches you a little bit of work ethic, but you got to really have a passion for that industry. And a lot of migrants that are coming here to Wisconsin, that's where they're going. They're going into dairy farming and manufacturing, and a lot of companies, and construction, and a lot of companies around here are looking the other way with the people that they're hiring, and the state is even looking the other way and allowing these people to work, and a lot of times with stolen identities and stolen cards. And that's why E-Verify is super important. I think everybody should be required to use E-Verify, because if there's no opportunity, people will stop coming. And I think one of the biggest problems going on in our country is there's no repercussions. There's nobody's doing anything about the small stuff. So people keep graduating higher and higher to the next level, So I think there has to be repercussions for theft and all these smash and grabs and all the shoplifting and all the stuff that's running rampant through our economy, which is closing stores and everything else around the country. Another prime example is this last week, there was a video going around the internet about some undocumented workers that beat up some New York Police Department police officers. And that is going to be some of the last straws for a lot of people in New York. San Francisco's had to deal with these issues. Portland, Seattle, all these sanctuary cities are finding out that once you have to start taking care of these migrants and they become awardees of the state, more or less, that you have to do something, or they're just going to be living in the streets and building camps, encampments and whatnot. And then that's a whole nother debacle of funding and money being spent there. But why am I even doing this topic? This is not necessarily a positive motivation, but I'm hoping that when I talk about like these issues, that Walmart, Spark, and DoorDash get a grip and can change some of their policies. Yesterday, I received in my feed, and I don't watch other YouTubers, or gig tubers. I try to stay in my own lane, kind of do what's on my mind every day. I don't want to copycat anybody or, ride their coattails, because that's not my intention. But I wanted to bring attention to this video. It came from a YouTuber called OG Kevo. And he is slamming Spark scammers. He did a video that was released yesterday or the day before, and he goes really hard on the Venezuelan migrants or gangs that have kind of taken over Walmart, Spark in his area. And in that video, he kind of went hard on Mushi Moo, which is another YouTuber. So after I watched that video, I was like, all right, now I got to go see what he's talking about in Mushi Moo's video, because he caught my attention in that video. So I went to Mushi Moo's video, and Moosh kind of talks about more of Spark deactivating illegal immigrants. And Moosh does more of delivery, like the video footage of him doing drop-offs, pickups, his daily routine that he goes through. A lot different than what I do as far as GigTube. But in his video, he kind of wanted to calm the storm, because he knows and sees all the smoke that a video saying Walmart's deactivating illegal immigrants, we don't know who's an illegal immigrant and whatnot, and nobody on YouTube, not me, not OG Kevo, or Mushi Moo, want any harm done to anybody. But we all see the tempers raising. We all see the anger and animosity rising because there's not enough work for all the workers. In my area, we get drivers from all over. I call them gig work nomads. They come from Milwaukee. They come from Chicago. They come from up north in La Crosse and Eau Claire. They come to my city looking for work. And when you have an Illinois license plate in Wisconsin and you're at the airport parking lot, drivers look at you with animosity and stress. And when people can't pay their bills, people get stuck in a certain way. And nobody wants that to escalate, And I think that was Mushi Moo's intent when he did his video. He wasn't trying to say that, this isn't a problem. But what he was trying to say is common sense has to prevail. Don't get angry at the people. You should be angry at Walmart Spark. You should be angry at DoorDash, because they are allowing this to happen by allowing these people these loopholes and ways to slide in using either stolen identities or saying that they're delivering by bicycles or whatnot to kind of get the game going for themselves. And nobody wants anything bad to happen to anyone. Nobody wants, I can't say that enough. Nobody wants anything bad to happen to anybody. But yesterday, 50 Cent, the rapper, came out and he seen that New York City was giving up $53 million and prepaid cards out to all the undocumented workers or migrants that have hit New York so that they could use it into local bodegas. Well, if I owned a local bodega, I'd be like, woohoo, let's do that. That sounds awesome. Let's have all these people shop here and the government pay for it. But if you're a New Yorker and you got to fit that bill, or you're the federal government and you got to fit that bill, that is not a good idea. That is not going to deter people. And there are people making videos of them staying in those 4-star hotels and putting them online saying, look at this, I came to America over the border and I'm in New York and they're giving me food for shopping and they put me in a 4-star hotel. And, there needs to be an answer. And 50 Cent came out and said, maybe Trump's the way. Maybe Trump's got an answer for this, because, I mean, when Donald Trump said, close the borders, this is a problem, people that lived in those border states know it's a problem, and that solidified a lot of their votes. And now I think a lot of New Yorkers are starting to say, this is a problem. This is not just a border problem. This is a United States of America problem, and we need to get the ship right-sided. So how can DoorDash and Walmart Spark fix these problems? First of all, DoorDash needs to get rid of the bicycle delivery shit. You have to have an ID in order to deliver, and that will hopefully cut down on the ease of getting these multiple accounts with bicycles and whatnot, because if it's tethered to an actual driver's license, it'll slow it down at least. And not just in New York, but in other cities as well. You got to require them to have driver's licenses and social security numbers and not stolen IDs and not being paid to a debit account. You know, it has to be an actual bank where they're going to verify their identification as well. That's one. Walmart Spark. This is so easy. If you drive for Uber, you know how irritating it is every once in a while when Uber pops up the little screen and says, verify your identity. And you'll be driving and you can't take a picture of yourself when you're driving. So you're on the highway, you can't even get off for 2 exits. By the time you stopped, you missed the surge. It's so irritating. But it stops a lot of the illegal activity by verifying who you are. Walmart Spark could do this so much easier, and they don't even have to do the facial recognition. This would be so much easier as when you take an order from Walmart Spark, they can do it randomly. They can pick accounts based on your social security number and say, today everybody with a 2 or an 8 is going to have one order that they have verified by the Walmart associate. And all it has to be is a little tab on the associate's phone or scanner in the software, so that when you show up and you say, I've arrived, pick up my order, I'm in stall number 4, it'll say pop up. The pop-up would be, you've been randomly selected to show your identification to the Walmart associate upon receiving this order. If you fail to do this, your account will be deactivated. So if they cancel, if it wasn't Sally delivering the order, and the person who has a stolen identity doesn't have a driver's license to verify with the associate, they're going to either try to cancel or they're going to stay and take the order. If they cancel the order, then they have to resubmit their documentation to Walmart to get their account reactivated. If the associate comes and he goes, okay, Sally, let me see your driver's license real quick. Sally, which she has to have on her when she's delivering, she shows her driver's license. The associate goes, yep, you're Sally. I can give you this order. Boom, there you go. Driver delivers the order, right? Now, the associate says, you're not Sally. Well, Sally's my wife. I'm sorry, your account is going to be deactivated because it's illegal to use anybody else's account. And Sally's account gets locked because Sally wasn't the one delivering the order. It's that simple. They could get rid of all the scammers, and within a couple weeks, this would be over. And then they could do the random searches once a week, once a month, whatever. But they need to do something for these drivers that are delivering for Walmart Spark, because it's not fair for those that are playing the game fairly. And for people with multiple accounts, it'll alleviate all the multiple accounts, all the scams, all the problems that people are dealing with Walmart Spark could be so easily solved if Walmart Spark just pulled their head out of their butts and verified the driver's license. That's it. It'd be that easy. And all the drama, all the smoke would be over. And otherwise, I'm having a great day. It's been a good Sunday morning. I'm taking this little station intermission to kind of grab a cup of coffee, do this video. I'm getting ready for lunch rush, and we got a big basketball game today. So hopefully you guys get some value out of this video. Make sure that you like it, subscribe to the channel, and let Walmart and DoorDash know that these issues need to be addressed, because until they do, we're going to be all suffering in this same swamp. So on the next one, guys, peace.